You know, when I ask Australians what they know of Calabria, they usually give me, never heard of it. Or, that's where all the mafiosi are from, isn't it? What's even sadder is when I ask Italians themselves about this land called Calabria, those Italians that are outside of the region of Calabria, and they point to their head and they go like this and they say Testaduri. That's where all those hardheads are from, those uncultured southerners, peasants. But probably the saddest thing of all is when I talk to Calabrians themselves about their homeland. And I ask them what it's like. And they look at me with these sad eyes and they tell me tales of poverty and hardship, but little else. When in reality, Calabria is a place that is full of history and culture. And it really is incredible just how much we don't know about this land called Calabria and its people.
E per gli amici presenti, uomini degni e l'onorata, sparatevi una tarantella, ma si fanno una ballata.
Calabria is the foot and toes of Italy that are just about to give Sicily the boot. A mountainous region in the form of a narrow peninsula that stretches from the north to south for 248 kilometres, with a maximum width of 110 kilometres. 42% of Calabria is mountainous, and most of the rest is described as hilly, so very little of the place is actually flat. It is surrounded by the Ionian and Tyrrhenian seas, and separated from Sicily by the Strait of Messina, where the narrowest point between Capo Pelero in Sicily and Punta Pezzo in Calabria is only 3.2 kilometres. When I was small, I was a curious kid, right? I used to go to my grandparents and uncles and aunties and I'd ask them about this place called Calabria. Yeah, ask them to tell me something about it. Tell me something about its history. And they'd look at me, you know, with this look and say, go do something useful, you know, don't bother me with these questions. Pretty soon I worked out that nobody actually knew about the history of Calabria.
Is that everyone had their own donkey as such and took it with pride, their donkey, and also with mule or goats, and I think peccary or whatever they're called, goats. What else did they do?
So when I was young, my parents used to tell me about where they came from in Calabria, Mortagella, a little small town, and Mum used to say that there was some bari and a delicatessen, a fruit shop, and they would go there and get their hams and capicolo and, you know, have their panini and go and sit down and have their little lunch. And also they used to tell me about going to get the water, and then the little animals that they had, and Mum would look after the chickens, and she was so proud of having this little ownership of animals, and they were her job to look after them. That's what I can think of.
Historians say that the Greeks colonised the Calabrian peninsula from about the 8th century BC as they sought to expand their empire. And when they did, they encountered a tribe in Calabria called the Itali tribe. And the Greeks named the whole of that land after this tribe. So in fact, the first Italia, named from the Itali tribe, was Calabria. Calabria was the first Italy. Can you imagine those northerners looking down their nose at the wild, unruly Calabrese, knowing that Calabria was the first Italy? I'm not sure they'd be too happy about that. But then again, I'm not too sure that most Calabrese would be too happy to learn that they were descended from the Greeks.